Welcome to today's show. So we're going to jump in and talk about the intervention that's going on with the US and the Japanese yen and what that means for Bitcoin and BMNR and Ethereum and MSTR. Also going to jump into why ETH may rally this quarter and the signals with the Russell 2000 that are indicating that based on prior signals in 2021. And I'm also going to show you a chart of how I make decisions on BMNR and how I trade on a weekly basis and how my community also does that to do a little bit of technical analysis that's super, super simple. You don't have to be a trader to get it. But I'm going to jump in and share this with you right now. Now, remember, nothing here in this video is tax advice, financial advice, or legal advice. So definitely do your own research and make sure you consult with an advisor before you do anything. And all of this is just sharing with you basic knowledge on just stuff that I have that I want to share with you and educate you. Okay, so let's jump in and let's take a look first at the charts here, which I think will be interesting for you. So here's the disclaimer, and then let's look at the charts on BMNR. So I'm going to jump in and show you something. Even if you're not a trader, it doesn't matter. This is just really, really good stuff to understand. It's going to give you a technical analysis of BMNR. If you've been sitting and watching BMNR just kind of waffle over the last several months, and you're kind of like, when is this thing actually going to take off? Yes, the data I'm going to share later in the show may indicate that Ethereum takes off in this quarter, which BMNR would follow if it does. But what happens if it doesn't? Do you just sit there and twiddle your thumbs and hope that it goes up, or do you do something about it? So I'm going to show you what I do about it and what my community does about it and what we do very successfully. So if you look at this chart here, I'm going to draw on it and show you something very, very simple. This is a combination of invest answers, indicators. So compliments out to them and credit to them on this, and also trading view. This is how I get these indicators. Now, if you take a look at this trade right here, basically when I'm trading this, if you put your attention here, I trade the trend lines. So this is based on a 2-hour chart. So signals to trade BMNR, they don't come in very often. Over the course of a week, you might get 1 or 2 signals to trade. So we find in our community who's following this chart, you may place 1 trade every 3 to 5 days. So the consideration that people have that I don't want to look at charts all day long and I don't want to sit in front of the charts, the people that are in my community are mostly brand new to trading or have done trading a little bit. And they're like, I don't want to sit in front of charts because they're super busy. So this is what I'm teaching. Right here is a change in the trend line where it goes from yellow to blue. When it goes from yellow to blue, this is a signal to buy. Okay. Now, I'm not saying anybody goes buys it right now. It's just educational purposes. Now, if you had bought in here where BMNR was at $28.24, you would have rode this trade up and still be in the trade. And this would have been about a 3% gain. That signal came in Tuesday. It is now Wednesday, and one would be up 3% if they followed the signal. Now, we do take into consideration when there's kind of wonky signals and when BMNR gives not clean signals and where you would have had a loss. But if you look at this chart over the last 2 months and you follow these trades, approximately one would have made 34% following these lines of yellow to blue, blue to yellow in terms of trading BMNR. Now, here's where you would have gotten faked out. So we'll look at the scenarios that aren't great, where if somebody bought in here, you would have bought in at like 28.79, and then you would have gotten faked out and you would have sold out approximately at the same thing, 28.79. So it would have been a wash, or maybe you would have lost a little bit of money. But if you would have sold out here, it would have been a wash. But we don't take like these mini signals that are skinny. We don't take those. We wait for it to get fat. So you see where it's skinny here? We don't take those. So if somebody had sold out here where it's a little bit fatter, they would have rode this trade all the way down, and they could have bought back. If one holds BMNR, they could have sold high and bought back low. So this is an example of a chart here where it's just not really clean signals here. So you would have gotten faked out. Maybe you would have lost 1%. Maybe you would have lost 2% here on this trade. So we take those into account, the losses. But if you go back and you look at the signals of how clear they are on these charts, it's very rare that you're getting signals here, like here, that are confused. So these are like not great signals because the blue and the yellow are not very defined. But if you look back and you take a look at the last 2 months, if you were trading BMNR using these signals, look how clean they are. And again, you're just trading when blue goes to yellow, you sell. When yellow goes to blue, you buy. And look how clean it is, man. So we went back and traced it because my community's trading and my friends are trading these charts, and the number of clean signals that are coming in. Like if you bought here where it goes from yellow to blue, and let's say you bought in here, you wait for it to get fat here, the blue line, you buy in at $27.85, and then you would have sold out here at 32. That's like a 13% gain. So I use these charts to trade, and it's just one of these things where I'm not going to sit around and wait for BMNR to recover. Now, there's a whole in my portfolio. I hold a portion of BMNR where I just hold it long term, and I'm perfectly happy to sit on it. But then there's a whole portion of BMNR that I trade. And then I am able to pick up gains over this time period is always the goal, right? So look how clean these lines are. If you traded this one, it's another, if you wanted to sell out of BMNR at any point here and you ride this sucker all the way down, you could have bought back low. So these are just great signals. If you want more data on this, one, if you want the tech, the way you get the tech is you need to get TradingView and you need to get Invest Answers indicators. And this is how you go trade something like BMNR. If you want more data on how to trade, you can go watch my video down below, which is a much more in-depth video. But I just wanted to show it to you on what we're doing, because a lot of people are just sitting here twiddling their thumbs on the market. And, you know, my friends in my community are making money. And so even when the markets are down. So that's why I wanted to show it to you and to just share with you here. Again, you can get the video down below for free on just 30 minutes ago from Brooks, just made $778. All right. Then we have another one here from Adolfo, made over $1,000 today. That was 19 hours ago. Then Brandon, he reported to me the other day, he just made 3% on his trade. Like here, this one says update, another 3% win this morning, another 3% win. So you just see people are winning. This is one, increased shares by 3.2%. So people are winning on this. And you know, if you're sitting there and you're like, the market's down and I'm holding a position and I don't know what to do, I would highly suggest that you go down below, you watch my entire video that shows you how we're trading and how we're actually picking up more shares of BMNR as a community. It's purely educational. And then if you like it, you can go pick up the tech to do this, which is TradingView, and then also Invest Answers. So this is just my my way of saying, hey, do something about it when the markets are down. Now, we can get how you get that chart to answer your question. It's simple. You go to TradingView, and then you got to get Invest Answers technology to lay over it. That's how you get the chart. All right, but that's how we're doing in our community. And I just showed you a trade that came in 30 minutes ago. I mean, we have people doing this on the regular, and they're kicking ass. And we have people that are brand new who know nothing about this, that are my friends that I've shown how to do this and spent some time with, and they're kicking ass doing this. So there you go. Okay. So let's talk about what's going on in the markets. And also, if you want to get it, I'm just going to show you where to go, because this is what will come up. You'll see my book down below when you click on the link and you opt in for my book, and you'll get my trading strategy with it. 100% totally free. Okay. So there you have it. So let's get into what's going on in the markets right now. You've heard about the Fed signaling yen intervention, just like in the past. And this move can hurt markets first, but then help them later. So let's start with what is the yen intervention. The Fed may weaken the US dollar. A weaker dollar helps the US economy. But if we take a look at this, the dollar falls close to lows since 2022. So if you look down here to the left, the dollar in 2022 was low. Now it's falling to those levels again. So what they're doing right now is they're selling dollars and they're buying the yen. So without going into the PowerPoint here, let me just tell you basically what's happening, okay? So right now, what's happening is that for years and years, you've had people who, it's called a carry trade, where they would basically they would borrow the yen because it's super cheap, and the yen has been super weak over the last many years. And so people would then borrow yen at a very cheap interest rate, and then they would come over and put that money into risk on assets like Bitcoin or stocks and things of that nature. So it was very cheap to borrow the yen and then put it into stocks and Bitcoin. Now, recently, what's happened as the yen has gone up. And so when the yen has gone up, now it's not as cheap for people to borrow yen and put it into Bitcoin and stocks, etc. So what's happening is in the marketplace, they're like, oh my God, people have to unwind their trades. So the people who borrowed now have to unwind their borrowing. They're selling out of Bitcoin. They're selling out of stocks. They're taking that money, and then they have to pay back their loans. And so when they have to pay back their loans, they're selling out of Bitcoin, they're selling out of stocks, it goes into US dollars. And to pay back their loans that they owe, they have to go buy yen. And so what happens is when they go buy yen in the marketplace, there's a lot of panic buying because they got to go pay back their loans. They're getting margin calls. And so you have panic buying of the yen. So what happens is the US comes in, and the US has decided, the Fed, that they're going to go in and buy a bunch of yen. So they're going to take dollars and they're going to buy a bunch of yen. And what that does is you have a counterparty in there that now holds yen as well. So the liquidity is available so that all the people that are panicking and they got to go out and they got to buy more yen, there's another counterparty that's holding yen that doesn't make the panic as bad and doesn't make the hustle of people going, oh my God. And it creates more spreads on the yen. It creates just kind of panic on the yen. And so now that you have the US coming in and stabilizing that, it's not going to be as bad for the markets as it typically would be. So technically, this is a good move with what the US is doing to go bail out Japan and buy some of the yen. So that, in a nutshell, is what's happening. So it's not great news when you see this happening. This already happened once before in 1985. This move strengthens the yen, as I just said. And so if you look at the dollar over here, so if you look at the US dollar and the Japanese yen here, you can see it just literally like tanking, right? You see the Japanese yen has been super weak. So the moral of the story is what I just shared with you without going into tons of detail on this. So a lot of times people look at this and go, well, isn't a weak dollar bullish for crypto? In the long term, yes, but in the short term, not necessarily. And this is where people tend to get confused. And so if you look at this is just a statement from this guy, Mycon Crypto. US dollar has been dumping hard since the Fed rate checks. We know that there's been interest rate cuts with the Fed over the last couple months. There was not one yesterday. And then you have yen intervention, and these rumors have started. So you got the IMF that's kind of stress testing scenarios to see what will happen. What will happen in the event of this. And so one of the things that's happening, as I just said, is people who have done the carry trade where they've borrowed yen to put it into stocks or Bitcoin, they now have to sell off those assets to then pay back their loans. And that's where the whole problem is. And that's why the Fed's jumping in and they're buying yen to stabilize the Japanese economy and stabilize the yen, so that people who do need to repay loans are not all scurrying and freaking out and panicking about the yen. Okay, so it's a good stabilization move for the U.S. to do it. Why is the yen so important? For decades, a weak yen's been a massive liquidity source, as I just shared. So investors would borrow cheap yen and they'd put it into crypto stocks and risk assets. Now that the yen is going up, they can't do that anymore, and it's not good for Bitcoin. And so the U.S. stepping in is actually a good move for them to do that, to step in and stabilize the yen and buy yen like they have been. Okay. So this is everything I just shared, but what happened last time? This happened in 2024. So you probably remember headlines about this. Yen surged nearly 15% versus the USD. And what happened next was we saw a dump in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin crashed, altcoins collapsed, US stocks dumped, and the only winners were gold and silver. So in the past, this has not been good for Bitcoin. So the US intervening right now and the Fed intervening is a good thing. So the declines, I don't think in Bitcoin will be as sharp. We may have dips, but I don't think we're going to see a huge decline like we saw last time. So, this happens because liquidity disappears, obviously. So you look at the Japan yen intervention here. I don't know what's going on with my screen here. It's it's weird on the slideshow, but anyway, you get the gist of what I was just sharing. Okay, so this is what's happened in the marketplace, and there's good news coming around the corner on this, so I wouldn't get too concerned about it. Okay, so let's get into the good news. All right. Okay, so my slideshow is freaking out. So the good news is really simple. It's the fact that money has been moving into gold and silver, right? And so if you're a Bitcoin holder and you're also a Ethereum holder of BMNR and MSTR, you're like, okay, well, that's not great for me. But we have seen a bump up in gold and silver. And if you look at the all-time highs now, 5,104 for gold, and silver's up at 117. There's a massive gain in silver this year. It's been running like crazy recently. So it's normal behavior that the metals are rising while crypto and stocks are actually struggling. But here's the actual good news, right? The panic selling that we've seen doesn't last forever. And the panic selling I'm talking about is as a result of the Japan yen carry trades that have been unwinding because the yen got more expensive. It got more expensive to borrow the yen to put into investments. So people sold their investments and now they're paying back their loans. And so you see a lot of panic selling and that drops the markets. And ultimately it's going to drop risk on assets like Bitcoin first. Okay. But once the forced selling is done, which also is being stabilized by the US intervening and buying more yen to stabilize the economy over there. Once the forced selling is done, the market stabilizes and the liquidity resets. So the good news is just like September and October 2024, where we had this whole thing happen before with the yen, what comes after the panic is important. And historically, there's been a strong recovery and risk assets would bounce hard back. And so I think that this is what will happen with Ethereum and BMNR and MSTR is that the risk assets will bounce back hard and we will see a recovery. And so this is where the upside returns. So let's talk about why Ethereum might be setting up for a big move again. So in 2021, if you look at Ethereum, it didn't pump randomly then. First, what happened when Ethereum pumped in 2021 is you had global liquidity increase. So that was the first thing. Then the second thing that happened was small cap stocks broke out. And then third thing is Ethereum exploded after that. And so the result in 2021 is Ethereum went up 226% from that point. And that was the sequence of how it happened. It wasn't luck. It was just the sequence. So that same pattern is actually showing up again. So despite what's happening with the yen carry trade unwinding and lots of those investors selling out of their Bitcoin and their stocks to cover their loans and cover margin, despite that not so good news, we have good news with the same pattern showing up again of what happens. And analysts are seeing the exact same three-step setup forming now, which is global liquidity breaks higher. And the Russell 2000, which is the small cap US stocks, those follow. And then Ethereum moves last. So if you're looking at like, why hasn't Ethereum moved yet? Well, Ethereum typically moves last. So when you look at global liquidity here and you look at these patterns in the past, you can look up here at the yellow line and you see that you see the breakout of global liquidity that's already happened. The yellow graph is way up and you can see it trending up. You also see the Russell 2000 in the middle here. You see that trend going up as well. And so you don't see it yet for Ethereum, but if you look all the way to the right in this chart, you'll see that if Ethereum follows with its typical, 100-day breakout after the Russell 2000 and after global liquidity, then the Ethereum breakout may come sometime in March here is what we're seeing. So somewhere in the first quarter, there could be an Ethereum breakout. And that's what this pattern suggests. Again, this is just patterns from the past. We can only look at the past to analyze and learn from it and see if the data continues. So this is a possibility for what will happen with Ethereum. Right now, liquidity has already broken out. So that's the good news. So it's not like, hey, liquidity might break out. Liquidity's already broken out. Right now, small caps have already confirmed as well. So ETH is the one that usually moves after. So we've got 2 of the 3 signals already. We're just waiting on ETH now to move. The Russell 2000 often leads Ethereum, and you've heard Tom Lee on the news many times. Tom will talk about small caps this year, and the small caps will be moving, and then Ethereum would follow. And so we are seeing the small caps moving, which is a Russell 2000. And when small cap stocks show strength, it means investors are ready to take risk again. So this is a very good indicator. And you see the charts here. You see silver leading the pack all the way up here. You see gold down below it on the blue line. You see copper down below it. So you see metals clearly are moving and kicking butt right now. And that's what's happening in the marketplace. But we also have a very interesting message here. So if you're a Bitcoin enthusiast and you're a BMNR or Ethereum enthusiast, you'll hear from Michael Saylor, who has a totally different viewpoint on things. So let's hear from Saylor.
Dead rock. Gold is a shiny dead rock. Sell it all. Like, you really want to, if you want to elevate U.S.'s economic leadership in the world, there are two very simple strategies, almost three, but two. Dump the gold and buy Bitcoin because you simultaneously demonetize the asset held by your enemies. Who owns the gold, right? You just sell it all and demonetize gold once and for all, put a stake in its heart, and buy Bitcoin, and you get 20-25% of the Bitcoin network for free. But it's better, right? You could just print the money and buy Bitcoin and keep the gold, but it's so much more intelligent to demonetize your enemy's network and everybody else's network. You might as well drive gold from a $20 trillion asset to a $4 trillion asset, devalue the assets of gold held by every non-US entity, drive Bitcoin to the roof, and then have 25% of the Bitcoin network forever. And so that's a very straightforward thing. My second observation is they ought to just create a normal regime to issue digital currency backed by US treasuries.
So there you have Saylor, totally different viewpoint. So even while you have gold and you have silver and you have these metals pumping, he has a totally different viewpoint on what to do with money. And I think he has a great viewpoint. You also got to zoom out and take a look at Bitcoin over 5-year periods, 10-year periods. It's great to see what the hottest thing is in the year. But also if I zoom out and I look over the next 5 years, what I think is going to be the better move for myself, I look at Bitcoin, I look at MSTR, I look at BMNR. I don't look at gold and I don't look at silver because it's just not my game. So different strokes for different folks, but Saylor clearly has the viewpoint of buy Bitcoin, and that's his viewpoint. So there you have it with that. It's always good to hear from him because he's got great conviction in Bitcoin, great conviction in MSTR. And so here's back to what we were talking about with Ethereum. The index just hit new highs. So if you can see on the charts here, and just like it did before Ethereum's 2021 run, that's also a big clue. So ETH is lagging, and that is normal. If you look at ETH right around now, this was as of yesterday, but ETH today is trading right around 3,000. So that's where we're sitting with it right now. Last cycle, ETH didn't move right away. It waited about 119 days. So you had liquidity move first, you had the Russell 2000 move, then it rallied hard. If the timing lines up again, analysts are watching early 2026. So maybe somewhere around March, we might see an ETH move possibility. Delayed moves are still powerful moves, so we will see what happens. Big ETH holders are accumulating, and we are seeing that in the marketplace right now. So people are still accumulating ETH, which is a good sign. Their average buy price is near $2,720. Historically, ETH doesn't stay below this level for long. And if you also look at the moving average, the EMA, the exponential moving average, if you look at this yellow line here, you can see that's the 200-day exponential moving average for Ethereum. If you look at the blue line, you can see that this is the 100-day. And so the 200-day is $3,316 for the price point of Ethereum. And then the 100-day is $3,254. And then the 50-day is $3,126. And so really we want to feel more bullish about Ethereum, we want it above the 200-day and even the 100-day moving average. Right now, it is not there. And even the 50-day moving average is 3,126. So we wanted to get back above those levels to feel more bullish about ETH. But again, with the indicators that are there, that could happen in sometime in February, and we could have a run sometime in March. So let's see what happens. So support is building quietly with ETH. Smart money is positioning, not chasing. And Now let's see why gold's big move is hiding a bullish crypto setup. So let's take a look at this. You have gold and silver have been moving fast, really fast. And it's no surprise. When prices go parabolic, everybody looks there. So Tom Lee says when gold and silver cool off, Bitcoin and Ethereum have historically surged next. Rotation is coming. So we will see if that's true. Again, this is just, Tom taking his knowledge and making some predictions of what could happen. You don't bet the farm on this stuff. You just look. My viewpoint on Ethereum and Bitcoin right now is just holding for a long-term period, looking and zooming out and going, what's going to happen over the next 4 to 5, 6 years with these assets? That's my viewpoint. It's why I continue to hold MSTR. I continue to hold BMNR. I continue to hold Bitcoin. If you watched my video earlier, I am trading as well. So I trade on a daily basis, not on a daily basis now, but more like every 3-day basis is my plan. And that's what our community is doing. Some of our community trades on a daily basis as well. If you want to learn how we're trading on a daily basis, you can go get the free book down below, and you can also go get a video on trading. If you want to watch the first few minutes of the video, go back and watch it if you missed it, because I showed you the charts of what we're doing. For people who don't want to sit in front of a screen, but maybe want to place a trade every 3 days or 5 days, go get educated on it. I highly recommend getting educated while people are just waiting for BMNR to go up. My community and friends are doing well, picking up more shares, making money. Okay. And so, so go back and watch the beginning of the video, and it shows you how to go get this tech. And if you can get the free video down below to learn more about it. Okay. So there you have that. So with that, let's get back to Tom Lee, and he's talking about gold and he's talking about metals here. Clearly they are crushing it, but he says the rotation is coming soon. Crypto fundamentals don't disappear. They just get ignored. Tom Lee says Bitcoin and Ethereum fundamentals are improving. Tom Lee claims parabolic gold and silver move is masking the bullish Bitcoin and Ethereum signals. And institutions are building, adoption is growing, infrastructure is strengthening. So if you watched one of the videos I gave the other day, it was very clear that we see more and more institutions are buying. We've got institutions that are buying Bitcoin. We've got institutions that are buying Ethereum. We even see the accumulation of institutions buying BMNR as well. And so there's lots of good things that are happening despite the fact that the price isn't moving. So the price just has not caught up yet. The fear index tells us a different story, which is interesting. Here's something a lot of people miss. The crypto fear and greed index just jumped 9 points. It moved out of extreme fear for the first time in weeks. So if you look at here, it's moved up and it's out of extreme fear and it's up 9 points, which is a good thing. That means panic is easing. The sellers are getting a bit tired. And historically, this happens near bottoms, not tops. So Ethereum keeps showing up for a reason. At Davos, which is a big financial conference that takes place. My friend was there like 4 years. Talking about the move that's taking place in the marketplace. I mean, it's no secret that many institutions are moving on to Ethereum. They're building on Ethereum, and they are going to be using Ethereum for doing business and picking up more customers and trading across borders in terms of allowing customers to buy their stocks and buy their products across borders. And so any smart financial institution out there knows that if you get on the blockchain and you build on the blockchain and you build on Ethereum, then you can actually have clients buying and selling your stuff 24/7, 365. You can cross borders and pick up clients in other time zones and other places across the world, and you have a more secure system. And you also have settlement that goes way faster rather than waiting 2 days for things to settle. They settle in seconds. So there's no question that the blockchain is superior technology and that large institutions are moving there, and lots of retailers are getting shaked out, and that's no secret either. We see that payments are taking place now as a result of people moving on to Ethereum and building layer 2s on the blockchain. Tokenization is taking place where you're going to see a world where stocks are not just traded 9, 10, 11 hours a day, but they're now traded 24/7, 365, and settlement is faster, as I just said. So the blockchain is here to stay. Ethereum is here to stay. Bitcoin is here to stay. It's just a matter of time. And the usage is going up. and we're seeing lots more usage because more and more institutions are moving onto the chain. Okay. Bitmine is not just talking. Bitmine now holds about 12.8 billion in ETH. They keep buying while sentiment is weak. That's what long-term positioning looks like. You're seeing it with MSTR. You're seeing it with BMNR. You're seeing it with large institutions. The indicators are there for long-term growth of this ecosystem. And the only question is what's going to happen in the short term. Nobody knows. The uncertainty that exists right now is high. What's going to happen in 2026? We don't know. But what's going to happen over the next 5-6 years, I have a pretty high degree of certainty that Bitcoin is going to be way up 5-6 years from now. BMNR is going to be way up. Ethereum is going to be way up. MSTR is going to be way up. So that's what I'm betting on, and that's what I'm counting on. And so I think the prudent thing to do for myself, at least over the next, year or so, is just to take a longer term outlook and to look at things from a long-term perspective and to invest in that way. Now, the other prudent thing to do, and if you're just joining us, I'm going to show you the charts that we're trading, and we're trading these charts on a weekly basis. And so this is what I showed in the beginning of the video, but I'm going to show it again because if you're just joining live, I want you to see it because it's pretty spectacular. And so this chart here is what my community and friends are trading. And it is very simple. We are trading this on a 2-hour time frame, and we are trading BMNR. Now, I'm just sharing this with you to get educated for educational purposes, but this is pretty cool stuff because when you look at this chart here, it gives very clear signals on when to buy BMNR and when to sell BMNR. And so this is a 2-hour chart. It is technology for trading view. So this is trading view. And then this is the indicators that are over this are from Invest Answers. All right. So down here, when you see this trend line turn from yellow to blue, that is a sign to buy BMNR. All right. And so if I had made this trade at $28 and bought BMNR, I would have then sold out up here where it goes and turns to yellow. So I'd have bought in at $28 and change and sold out about $32. It would have been a massive gain. So we have people in our community who don't even care about BMNR. They're just buying in and selling out and getting back into cash. So these trend lines, look how clean they are. And we went back and tracked this over the last 2 months. And you see here would have been another signal to sell. So when it goes from blue here to yellow and it gets fat on the yellow, one would sell out at like 32. And then the signal comes back in to buy back in here on the blue at like 30. And that's probably what I would have picked up 5-6 more shares on that trade. So this 2-hour chart over the last 2 months has been extremely accurate with BMNR. I've also been trading BMNR for the last 5 months. So when I want to trade on a daily basis, I go to the 3-minute charts and the 5-minute charts, and I trade those. Again, here's another signal. If you had sold out here on BMNR and then you had bought back here, you would have sold out here at a price point of 32, approximately 32, and you would have bought back here at $29. So it would have picked up more shares. So you can see the signals are incredibly clean. Every once in a while, you get a curveball right here, where if you traded this, you probably would have taken a loss around here. Right here in this zone. So we do count the losses when we went back and we track this over a 2-month period. Even if you did some of the trades where there were some losses, 1 or 2% here and there, overall, you still would have come out trading BMNR at a 34% gain. Here, you would take maybe you take a 1% or 2% loss here in this zone, but then you get back in here and you buy, and then you pick it up again and you pick up 3%. Well, you pick up more than 3% and about 3%, and you more than make up for it. So these are great charts. You don't, again, like to learn this stuff, you don't need to be a rocket scientist at all. If you want access to more in-depth training on this, go down below. I have a free book for you called Money Game. I also have a free video training on you that shows you how we do this on a daily basis as well. You can grab it for free. If you want to get the tech behind this to actually set up the tech. You need TradingView and you need invest answers indicators on this to do that. That's where you get it. You would have to go to them and buy that from them. But if you want to learn how to do it down below, just to get a concept of how it works more in depth, you can go get my video down below for free. Okay. So that is the game. I like to trade BMNR because I don't want to sit here and be effect of the market and just be waiting all the damn time. Okay. So this is just, I'm telling you, somebody says excellent analysis. Thank you. But this is just, I have so many friends that I've helped on this, that one of my employees, he picked up on doing this, and he's just, you know, he watched some of the up, started doing it on his own choice, and he's just crushing it on this. And then we've got other friends here. If you just look, I'll show you some of the results. Like, and these are people who've never traded before. They attempt trading and they were just getting wrecked. And we showed them just a simple way. I showed this just earlier, but look at this. Bought back in, increased shares by 3.2%. Wild day. Quick buy and sell this morning, 3% gain. I mean, these are real people. Here you have me going, 2-hour chart is killing it, right? And then you have here this morning, what's up, my fellow BMNR traders, right? That's Brandon. He just picked up 3% yesterday. And you have Adolfo down there going, I made over $1,000 today. I mean, this is real stuff. Look at 30 minutes ago, just made $778. He traded a 2X version of BMNR, which is very risky, but he just made $778 doing that. So if I would highly suggest get educated on this, like one who has a high degree of knowledge in an area, has more control, has higher responsibility, and just, you know, these are charts and things that one can learn that I just shared before. You don't have to be a wizard or a rocket scientist. You just need to read the charts. And again, like, look how look how clean these lines are. It's like in this particular scenario, well, we have other ways we trade, but you're just trading the trend line. When it goes from blue here to yellow, you sell, right? It's just that, I mean, it's simple, right? When it goes from yellow here to blue, you buy and you ride up this gain. I mean, and these are, mind you, this is over 3 and 5 day periods, guys. So this is not like somebody sitting in front of their computer looking all day long. Cause I got friends of mine and community members that are like, they're just busy. They're entrepreneurs. They got jobs. They're like, I can't sit here and look at this all day long. If you look at this trade here, this is literally, this freaking trade is like, this is on January 7th. You would have sold out of BMNR if you held the position. And then you wouldn't have bought back until January 12th here. It's 5 days. It's 5 days. You're 5 days with this trade. Here, if you don't even want to, if you don't own BMNR, I'm not saying you should buy it or own it or anything. I'm just showing you the knowledge here. If you bought it here at $28.37, like that was January 2nd, and you would have rode it all the way up and sold here at this huge gain. And January 2nd, you got in the trade, and January 7th, you got out of the trade. It's another 5 day period. So different strokes for different folks, but I'm telling you, man, we found a freaking incredible just trades here on BMNR. It's a great stock to trade. Kudos again, where kudos are due. This is TradingView and Invest Answers. Credit goes to them on the indicators, and I will take the credit for finding BMNR and finding the proper things to actually trade so that my community and friends can kick ass. So if you want to learn more about that, go down below, get my video for free down below, and you can also get my book for free down below, and it'll help you more, okay? I hope this serves you guys. I think that, you know, we have a bright future. I think that BMNR has a bright future. I think that we are just going through a rough time right now, and I'm looking 4 or 5 years out to a bright future for BMNR, MSTR, and Ethereum. I hope this data serves you. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I will talk with you all soon. Stay well.